What a historical day in gaming it was. Concord's officially shutting down on the 6th. I went out and bought me a physical copy actually so I can have an overpriced relic to put my red solo cups on. Now, in all honesty, it was expected that this game was going to fail. I mean, look at it. Nobody wanted this overpriced, oversaturated shooter, Overwatch wannabe. On top of that, it was just full of DEI. And all the Wokies are panicking now. They literally had a meltdown. This month has been great. We had Acolyte Season 2 not happening. We had Dustborn fail. We had Concord fail. It's just been epic proportions for the side of the anti-woke. But now all these Wokies are on social media just losing it. Now, Airbagged, this guy, Kate Bush's husband, this guy is like one of the biggest unhinged wokies on the internet. He's constantly just crying and is absolutely triggered. He suffers from what I call Grum's derangement syndrome. He hit the nail on the head here to where it's basically coping and seething. He put that we are about to see 5,000 low effort YouTube videos with this exact thumbnail format about Concord over the next 2 weeks. So you got the big red text, the small red text, woke and other buzzwords. You have Brie Larson. You have an insert bad cutout of a character actor and other things to clutter the frame. He's not fucking wrong. This is a big fucking W, and all these people are upset. A lot of these people that you've seen on Twitter is this isn't a win. This isn't a win that a gaming company is in trouble and a game gets shut down. This isn't a win. Maybe you guys should think about that when you try to cater to the modern audience that doesn't show up monetarily. And yeah, I'm going to make a bunch of videos about this, and so is everybody else. All this right wing grifters that are in this echo chamber that makes you hurt so bad because the truth hurts because you guys can't fathom the thought that nobody wants the bullshit that you activists want in the gaming industry or entertainment for that matter. Now, I've saw some good tweets out there. We're going to react. I watched Smash JT's video on this as well, and it's all delicious. So I'm going to pull some screenshots from his stuff, but I'm also going to pull a couple of tweets from another individual or two that I like the thread. They were getting completely buried. But first off, let's start Ash Parrish, who's from The Verge, right? Hell of a human being, right? Not. Put, let's tap the fuck out of this sign, please, in regards to Jason Schreier's post where he said every time a live service game with no hook or strong word of mouth fails to penetrate an oversaturated market, the most annoying people on the planet will be there to blame diversity. Well, newsflash, buddy. Look at me. Look at me seriously in the face. Are you telling me that diversity and DEI and wokeness had absolutely nothing to do with Concord? Can you look at me seriously in the eyes? The fucking robot in the game had pronouns, you dumbass. This was 110% on diversity. And guess what? Your little tweet that you posted today had more likes and retweets than Concord ever had players. So where were all of you wokies at to support this game? Again, the modern audience does never show up to support anything. You guys are fake activists. You don't give a shit about the real activism there. And of course, Ash Parrish, she's totally coping and seething. But look up here. Alyssa Mercante, everybody's little favorite Kotaku little senior editor. She reposted this. Of course she did. Of course she reposted it. It's funny when everything goes bad, all the oppressed suddenly come out and they're vocal, but none of them supported this game when it came out originally. That's why it fucking failed. Now, continuing on, Ash Paris just went on this whole fucking thing saying how many smaller projects were killed in its cradle to throw money at this live shooter bullshit that didn't last longer than my last fucking period. Why are you talking about your period? Nobody wants to hear that. You know what was killed? What project was killed in its cradle for this fucking woke ass game? An online Spider-Man multiplayer game. Yeah, Sony decided to choose Concord over an online multiplayer Spider-Man game. And you see, she's saying this ain't on the folks at Firewalk. They did what they could. It's just infuriating that folks were yelling at Sony when it announced its pivot to gas a couple years ago, games as a service, like I don't know about this, champ, and here we are. For social media purposes, no, my periods are not 3 weeks long, but they definitely feel like it sometimes. Why are you talking about your periods? Also, this is 110% on Firewalk. Remember the professor, the head honcho at Firewalk Studios? She wanted everybody to call them the professor. They were promoting a toxic workplace environment. They were promoting canceling employees that didn't go into the progressive side of things. Yeah, they deserved every single thing they got. This wasn't an innocent studio. Continuing, you have Carolyn Petit, who's Alyssa Mercante's boss, reposting this tweet saying, absolutely hate knowing this will undoubtedly come with a swing of the axe on people's jobs, all to protect a handful of money people who force bad decisions and poor market reads onto a dev team who knew better. So, of course, they're going to blame corporate Sony, right? No, Sony had to cut the crap. Firewalk Studios, again, shitty work environment, shitty development. They literally took 8 years to make this game. Literally 8 years to make this game because they were focused on calling somebody the professor and worried about pronouns and woke ideologies instead of making a game that is fun. If this game was fun, guys, guess what? It would have succeeded. I don't know how plain as simple that can be. If a game sucks, it's not going to do well. If a game is good, it's going to do great. And then, 99% of people, the casual people, don't care about woke. They don't even know what woke means. Guess what? They do know what woke is. Majority of gamers that saw pronouns on a fucking robot decided not to buy this game. Continuing on, you have this guy, Tamor Hassan, saying this game was doomed to failure, unfortunately. Sony is more interested in the business model more than the game, and the timing on it couldn't have been worse. It's a real shame since it was clearly well made. Rest in peace. Newsflash, it's business. A game spent 8 years in development, and in 2 weeks of its launch, it couldn't even hit 1,000 players. Sorry, business isn't about your feelings. Firewalk Studios literally was responsible for making this game dead on arrival with their bullshit woke nonsense on it. I don't understand how that's hard to conceive, to think about. It wasn't Sony's fault. Now, continuing on, you can see Matt Kim coping and seething. 8 years to make, a week and a half to succeed. Great system we got. Well, nobody wants to hear about your robot pronouns. Nobody wants to see your game with shitty characters. Nobody wants to see your woke bullshit in your video games. And I'm applauding Sony for getting rid of this. Hands the fuck down. Hayes Madsen says, can't think of a single time we've seen a game taken down this close to launch, and God, is it depressing for the entire state of video games right now. Feel awful for this team. Oh, I feel awful for the team when they had to deal with the professor. You're not sorry about that? I know why these people feel awful. It's because they're all activists as well. All these video game journalists and the development team at Firewalk, they all think alike. They're all part of that woke echo chamber, and that's why they deserve their jobs. If this was a studio full of right-wing people, they would all be fucking celebrating. If Black Myth Wukong failed the same way that Concord did, they would all be celebrating, right? Now, continuing on, Nick Calandra, everybody's favorite little asshole that contacts people's jobs and shuts down websites, said, like the gameplay of Concord. Thought that might be enough to carry it forward, but was not expecting the launch to be this bad. Hope the studio doesn't get gutted, as there's clearly talent there. Why are we going to listen to somebody that just got exposed by Frosted Revia the other day for doing backroom dealings with video game developers? Maybe you should have did some quid pro quo stuff with Firewalk Studios, and maybe they would have been successful, right? Not. Nick Calandra's a cancer. End of story. Now, Ryan Easby, this is the guy that said Grums should never feel safe in his life. This guy literally threatened the safety of Grums. Put, oh my God, this is wild. Has this ever happened before? 8 years. Well, get used to it, bucko, because I think the rest of this year is going to be hard on you wokies. You're going to need your little safe spaces. Continuing on, Stella said, my heart breaks for Firewalk Studios. The fact that it wasn't even given at least 6 months to properly sit through a season and adjust as a proper live service game is insane to me. It's very clear PlayStation didn't believe in this from the start and failed to support it. You had 8 fucking years. You had 8 fucking years. And I think this is still going to have a chance to go free to play, by the way. I think Sony will put this free to play in about a year or so. Now, continuing on, we had A few other people. Nathan Grayson said Concord didn't fail because of diversity or because live service games are a dead end. Instead, publishers are trying to use live service to paper over the unsustainability of their development practices. You can't solve unsustainability with more unsustainability. Cope and seethe because you're getting eaten alive in your comments. Anthony D says, now you're just being delusional if you don't think this wasn't a factor. Look at these characters. Wasn't this like a transgender in real life, the model that they based his character off of? And then, of course, you had the blue fupa person and then the ugly butch lesbian lunch lady and somebody's fucking abuelita. Now, Zion says, you're right. Diversity wasn't the problem. The problem was ugly, bland characters, which were a direct consequence of the woke design ideology. Hero shooters live and die by their characters, and these were terrible. It's almost like pandering to be a handful of activists can't sustain multi-billion-dollar industries. Dude, these people are fucking just burying this individual. It's fucking great. You love to see it. But these people, they'll close their ears. They'll turn a blind eye. They'll blame it on everything but the woke. And Jason Schreier, who we kind of talked about earlier, is the biggest coper about all this. He can say every time a live service game with no hook or strong word of mouth fails to penetrate an oversaturated market, the most annoying people on the planet will be there to blame diversity. And it's true. You can see Mr. Orr says, no hook or strong word of mouth. My brother in Christ. Concord was pushed harder than Roman Reigns during the WWE Blunder years. Full media lead-in for weeks before launch, the big trailer sneak peeks, and Sony's full backing too. Exactly. And as a matter of fact, the last couple of weeks, Sony's been tweeting it on the PlayStation Twitter. You had this big world premiere reveal at Summer Game Fest. They literally spent 8 years of an investment. What do you guys want from them? Corgi says it would have helped if the characters looked cool, though. If everyone who championed DEI on social media purchased the game, it would have been such a colossal failure. But even those in favor or DEI hardly purchased the game. And that's right. That is fucking right. You can see just Jason Schreier's first tweet, 802 views, 10K likes, 1.4K likes. That alone is more interaction than this video game has had. Look, 2.1K retweets on his, people are there to blame diversity. 14K likes. If those 14K likes actually went out and bought this game and supported it, Concord possibly could at least survive a season. But again, these activists don't give a shit. They really do not give a shit about what they preach. For whatever reason, they just want to control what everybody else consumes. They want us to buy into their woke ideologies and their narratives. That's what it is. They don't give a shit. These guys do not care about what they support. They really are not real activists. They have no intent on supporting what they preach. They just want to try to control everybody else. And Concord failed. Everybody that's a journalist right now is coping and seething, and you love to see it.